What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Good evening and welcome to Tampa Talk Tuesdays with the Living in Tampa team. Excited to have y'all here. We got Miss Stacey Amon with us tonight as our trusted co-host. Good evening, Stacey. How are you?
Good evening, everyone. Doing fabulous. Excited to be here tonight.
And of course, we're excited to have you, and we're excited to have y'all with us as well. Forgive us for the live stream on Instagram. I don't think that's going to happen. Facebook and Instagram had a nationwide outage today, and it definitely
heard about that.
Yeah, threw some things out of whack. So for those of you who are planning on watching us there, you got to come join us on YouTube Live. That's just basically where we're streaming tonight. We may be on Facebook. I'm not 100% sure, but either way, we're going to make the best of it. We're excited to have y'all here with us. And I know you saw the thumbnail this evening. Everybody's wondering, the goodbye to the middle class. Man, I'm telling you, as these numbers continue to pour in, there's some shocking stuff that I see out there. And I have something very interesting to share with you this evening. So make sure you stick around because the article I'm going to share is going to break down, I think, the top 50 cities and how much money you need to make to be able to afford a home in those cities, which some of these numbers, when I saw them, my jaw hit the floor. I was like, that's unbelievable. And Stacey, I brought this up because we're getting this question more and more often. And if you're joining us live here tonight, please let us know where you're watching from. We've been doing Q&A for the last 3 weeks. You all have been so engaging. It's been awesome. So we welcome you to let us know where you're watching from. Number one, please make this show interactive. Feel free to ask your questions. We are going to answer them on the fly while we're rolling tonight. We'll try to get into those. So don't hesitate. Don't hold back. This show is better when you're engaged and involved. If you're watching this later on YouTube, I'll put all of the links that we point towards tonight, any resources we share, that'll be in the description down below. If you're watching on other sources, go to YouTube. That'll have everything that we share tonight. We'll put that in the description after the show wraps up. But we're happy to connect with y'all. So like I said, feel free to engage. Feel free to ask questions. We want the feedback. We want the conversation. So excited to get into that. And exciting news here, y'all. I know we're missing our third wheel, right? Who is the best wheel of the machine, right? And Marsha's usually out front. She's the steering wheel on the trike. But she's had to step aside this evening. So Stacey's going to, platoon in and cover her spot. And we're happy to engage with y'all. And I'm going to get into this, man. I'm telling you right now, when I share this with you guys, there's going to these numbers are astronomical. And forgive the clickbaity title. And I don't think it is. That's why I'm never afraid to put something up there if I think it is actually real. And, there has been more and more conversation and arguments about the death of the middle class over the last 3.5, 4 years than I've ever heard in my life. Now, I also understand when I was young, I wasn't paying attention to anything old folks had to say. Right? Just in all fairness, I let the wisdom go right over the top of my head, and I let the noise go through my ears, if you will, right? But it turns out those people were saying some things that actually had a lot of merit and a lot of value, and I should have been paying better attention. So those things happen. But as I have, gotten older and in theory wiser, you start to recognize some patterns and see some things. But I don't think it's any news to anyone that over the last 3.5 to 4 years, life has gotten more difficult financially for a lot of people. Not for everyone, but for a lot of people. Okay. Now, this is not a gloom and doom conversation. This is a deal in reality and work our way around it. And if you've been following us at all, you know that I'm a proponent of a free society, right? Where people have the ability to make more and hopefully never have a cap on it. But with that, conversely, unfortunately, that usually means there's no floor. I'm also a product of growing up in Metro Detroit. Both of my grandparents worked for the automotive industry. My grandfather worked for Ford on the factory floor, and my grandmother worked for General Motors. So I saw ground zero of what a union job and what a working class wage could do for people back in the 80s when I was growing up. Now, I'm not here to say one's better than the other. Listen, there was a point where working conditions were so bad that union was it absolutely improve the quality of people's lives. Make no mistake about that, right? Now, there's lots of conversations about whether those are good or bad, and I'm not saying I'm pro-union, because I am pro-America, and I want people to win. If you work hard and you move yourself forward, you produce things that people want to value, you should be rewarded for that. I'm 100%. And if that's not for you, I understand. Put it in the comments. Let me know all about it. But that's how we roll here. So having said that, I also recognize that when people mess with your money and you don't have any control over it, that's a problem. And that's really what everybody's been feeling the pinch over, right? They're trying to wrap their minds around how things can continue to get more expensive, yet people seem to be able to do it, right? And we've had these wage increases where we feel like that, they'll keep telling you that, well, real wages are up, and wages are up. But the difficult component of it, and the part that no one ever talks about, is the fact that, our government and the Federal Reserve, and y'all, please don't take me, I'm not trying to preach at anybody, okay? But when the money supply gets messed with, it erodes how your dollar spends. That's the reality of it, right? Hopefully I'm not telling you anything you don't know. You can make more money, but if they print more money, the money that you make spends like you were making less money. That's how the system works, right? So I'm going to share some figures with you guys from this article that came through from Zillow that I think is going to shock some people when they see it. It totally shocked me. Stacy and I were going through the numbers and we were both like jaw on the ground, like, holy cow. Okay. And I'll get these comments. Stacy and I get these comments all the time. We'll see them in the chat and YouTube. We'll get them via email, text message when you guys reach out to us. And it's like, hey, Juan, I make X amount of dollars. Can we move to Tampa? And it's a great question. Well, that's one part of the equation. I don't know what your debt is. There's all kinds of things, right? Like there's a lot of factors that go into that. So when I share this article, y'all, I want to hear the feedback, because it's going to be fascinating what you're about to see. And before we get rolling, I want to say good evening to everybody who's already contributed here. Roger says, good evening, Juan and Stacy. Good evening, Roger.
Hello, Roger.
Absolutely. Jeff, Mr. Bennett says from South Jersey, potentially relocating from work. Jeff, reach out to us. All the contact information is down below, man. And thank you. Thank you for watching, and thank you for contributing to the conversation. We greatly appreciate that. Corey says, hey, Juan and Stacy, Corey from Columbus, Ohio, planning on relocating to Tampa area in September. Can't wait to get down there. Awesome, my man. You'll be sneaking out just in time, because that winter will be starting to set in, those colder nights. And you'll be able to make that shift and take advantage of winter down here. So awesome, dude. Reach out when you need us. We're here. Jason says they changed the number for increased wages. So 40 hours pays $400. Now they're basing the $400 on a 35-hour work week. Then say wages are up. There's a lot of, I'm going to use very diplomatic, appropriate terms this evening. There's a lot of funny things going on with how the money is managed, right? Like at the end of the day, guys, our government, our tax dollars here, Stacy, this is the way it was explained to me that made it super simple. Our tax dollars don't contribute enough money to the United States government to fund itself. We can't do all the things that we want to do on an annual basis just with our tax dollars, which sounds outrageous because you and I get taxed to death. Literally. On the way out, you're taxed. Unless you live in Florida. Shout out to Florida, by the way. All right. So, right, because you have an income tax, you have sales tax, you have a property tax, right? You have personal property tax also. You have a death tax. There's retirement tax. There's 401k tax. Like, y'all, you get taxed to high heaven, right? And there's still not enough money to support the government. Now, this is not a political conversation this evening. I just want to talk about the money. So if that's true, where does all this money come from? Where does it come from? Well, it comes when the United States government issues a bond, which is a promissory note, to pay back someone else who's willing to buy that bond. And we've been selling those bonds to foreign countries. You guys have heard for years that we sell a bunch of bonds to China and Russia and all those other things. But do you know who the largest purchaser of United States bonds in the world is? Do you happen to know, Stacy?
I'm going to guess China.
It's the United States Federal Reserve.
Really?
Yes. And for those of you that don't know, the Federal Reserve is neither federal nor does it have any reserves. You know how they go about making more money? Well, they used to print it. You know what they do now? Yeah, they just go over the computer and type in some numbers and poof, we've got enough money to buy the bonds from the US government. So that's how all this works, y'all. Okay. That's a very stripped down version of why you feel like your money is kicking you in the behind, because it is, right? The grocers, right? You go in and you buy. Remember when boxes of cereal used to be like 3/4 of the way full, and now when you open it up, they're only 1/4 of the way full. That's another way, right? That they steal from you. But I want to get into this. So I just wanted to set this up and talk about this a little bit. I'm not in here trying to get everybody vibrating and like I can't change those things. I don't have any control over it. Just like I was saying, I don't have control. The only thing that I have in my quiver, so to speak, is my ability to vote. Beyond that, guess what, y'all? The only thing I can do to control how my money feels is to go make more. And not everybody has that ability. And that's where I wanted to point towards tonight when we started talking about this saying goodbye to the middle class, because you're seeing it happen before your very eyes. It's fascinating. All right. Get in a couple more comments and we're going to roll this up. Kiefer from Washington. Thanks for all the great info. Excited to make my visit in May and check out opportunities. Kiefer, we are excited to have you come through, my man. Awesome to connect with you when you come in. And Jason says China. Yes, that is one of the largest buyers of bonds. We're all interconnected. There's no doubt about that. Okay, Stacy, it's time to unveil the article. And y'all, if you didn't know who we were, forgive me for not introducing myself. My name is Juan Alcala. I am the team leader here with the True Living Group, and we make videos that are all things Tampa Bay. And on Tuesday night, we get together and we talk about what's happening in Tampa, talk about what's happening in real estate across the country. Mostly, we take your questions, and we're happy to do that. So after I read this article, I'm going to open this up to Q&A to all of the wonderful viewers we have with us right now. We're happy to have you guys on, continue to connect with us, and we're happy to have those engagements come through. First Shot says, hello, everyone. Hello. Happy to have you. Cool. Let me open this article. I'm just completely fascinated by this. Y'all are going to be shocked at what you're about to see, I think. Okay. Now, this article that I'm about to show you, I don't want to show you that part. This article I'm about to show you came through. It's from Zillow originally, but the Tampa News picked this up and they ran this article, which is fascinating. And it said, how much do you need to earn to afford a home in Tampa? Now, spoiler alert, it's going to show you the top 50 metros in here. So y'all are going to get to see some really cool stuff. Okay. Now, I know this is a little bit small, but I'm going to do my best to make sure that I share with you what this says, guys. Okay, so it says, according to Zillow, a $58,577 income was enough to comfortably own a home in Tampa in 2020. Right? That was too comfortably was the word that was used there, right? However, Zillow said in 2024, buyers will need to earn nearly 50% more income to afford a home in Tampa. Today, an income of $116,329 is enough to own a home in Tampa. Holy moly. That is a big number, y'all. And for some people out there, I know you're reading that and you think that can't be true. And I want to share with you, Stacy, myself, and Marcia, we see a lot of people applying for home loans, right? We've had over almost 250 Zoom calls over the last 2 years with people just like you considering relocating to the area. And a lot of them have applied for mortgages. And what I'll say is this, that number is fairly accurate from what we see, right? And how they get to these numbers is the amount of debt that you have, the amount of income, the median home. And I'm going to show you all this stuff. The median home price. This is based upon the median, not the average, right? And remember, the median price is almost always lower than the average home price. And we'll get into the semantics of that later. But here, I want to read the rest of this to you. Some key parts in here. It will take Tampa home buyers roughly 9.8 years to save a 10% down payment if they are making the median income. That is, who can out? In 10 years, the real estate values have increased 200% across the United States. How do you say, what they're saying is at today's number, at the $400,000 average of today's price, it would take you almost 10 years. And I think that's fascinating because Stacy, we'll hear that from time to time. Hey, I'm just going to save. I'm going to buckle down and save for a couple more years. And the unfortunate part is, y'all, you can't outsave the appreciation. But if it was to stay stable, then you're good, right? Or if prices would dip down, you're good. But there's a problem with that. Over the last 50 years, real estate values have only decreased one time. And that was during the Great Recession. So that is a tough bet, right? Now, I'm not here advocating for you should always buy. I don't believe that. There's always the right time to buy for you. That's not the argument here. It's the understanding of what it actually takes. But over the last 10 years in the United States, home values have increased almost 200-fold. You can't outsave that, which is nuts. And the main reason that is because they've eroded your buying power with the amount of debt that we have. And you and I don't control that. We don't control that. Okay. Now, here's the other thing it says. The average monthly mortgage payment in Tampa was $2,364, assuming the buyer puts down a 10% down payment. They're also leaving out a very important number on this, Stacy. What are the two things that they always leave off of that median house payment number that they put up?
Right, taxes.
And what else?
Insurance.
Those are two very large numbers. The median home price in Tampa is $400,000. Taxes on that home are going to be somewhere between $5,000 and $7,000, depending on where you live. They could even be more. Okay, they could be less, but somewhere between that $5,000 and $7,000 on a $400,000 home. Right? Let's just call it 6 for the sake of conversation. Right? $6,000 divided by 12 is an additional how much every month? What's that number, y'all? I'm terrible at quick math. $500. So what that mortgage payment really is $2,800 a month, right? So again, not gloom and doom. We just have to deal in reality. Okay. So again, the article tonight is how much do you need to earn to afford a home in Tampa? And now we're about to show you some really cool stuff. So we talked about that. It says that if prices stayed the same, it would take the average person almost 10 years to save her down payment with the median income, and that the average payment was $2,300. But when we add taxes and insurance to that, we're up at $2,864, give or take, right? So now here's what I want you guys to see. I'm going to break out the metropolitan areas. You guys are going to see this list. This list is shocking. All right. And then I want to talk about it with the audience here because this list is mind blowing. Okay. According to Zillow's research, the income needed to own a Tampa home was similar to that needed in Atlanta, Georgia, Baltimore, Maryland, and Minneapolis, Minnesota. So it's giving you some generalities. But here's the thing I want you to see at the bottom here. It talks about the metro area in the left column. You get the size, meaning how large that metro area is. The income needed in 2024 versus the income needed in 2020. And this is what it's really showing is how much things have changed over the last 4 years. They've got their Zillow home index. Don't worry about that. They talk about the monthly mortgage down payment, how long it would take you to save that 10% that you would put down if you were making the median income in that area. Okay. And then it talks about how long that would take. So the mortgage payment and then how long that would take. All right. So at the bottom of this list, some of the most affordable metro areas in the country are Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The income needed today is $58,232, essentially what it was in Tampa 4 years ago, right? So it's pretty affordable in Pittsburgh, which is cool to see. It used to be $23,000. That's fascinating. It was extremely affordable. Memphis, Tennessee came in at $69,000. Cleveland, Ohio at $70,000. New Orleans at $74,000. Birmingham, Alabama, $74,000. Detroit, Michigan, my previous hometown. We moved from Detroit 5 years ago, and now is $75,000 on average. The median home there, the value. This is the value. The median home price right around $236,000. The median monthly mortgage payment at $1,500. Buffalo, St. Louis, and then wait till you start to see these numbers, y'all, as we start to go down. Kansas City up to 92, Houston, Virginia Beach. So now we hit six figures. Milwaukee, Wisconsin, it says that you need to earn $100,822 in order to comfortably buy a home. If you're watching from Milwaukee, is that true, y'all? And listen, when I say this, they're talking about the median. This means that you have a car payment, right? That you might have some credit card. They're comparing you to the average person. So if you don't have any debt and you're living, really rock bottom, I understand that that's an option also. But what they're doing is they're making a comparison versus the average person, right? When they do this. So that comes in, like I said, Milwaukee, Wisconsin is that first six-figure mark that we see on this board here. Virginia Beach, 102. Chicago, Illinois, 104. Richmond, Virginia, 106. The United States median average here. So this is where you hit zero, right? Meaning in the United States is 106,000. Philly, 109. Jacksonville, Florida, 109. So it costs as much to live in Jacksonville, Florida as it does in Philadelphia to buy a new home. Fascinating. Charlotte, which has been growing like crazy, 111. Hartford, Connecticut, 114. Minneapolis, Minnesota, 114,000. Baltimore, 114. Atlanta, 115. Stacy, would you have guessed we cost more than Atlanta?
No.
Right now, it's semantics here. We're talking about $1,000, right? And just like anywhere else in the country, there's areas of Atlanta that are very swanky digs, just like there are in Tampa. So like, keep that in perspective also. But I found that fascinating. Las Vegas, 119,000. Dallas. Now I'm going to start to slow this down because as I unveil the bottom of this, I think people are going to lose their mind. So what I would love to know is if you guys are watching this, share with us your best guess for the highest median income in the United States to be able to afford a home comfortably. I don't care about the city. Tell me what number it is. As a matter of fact, give me both. Tell me what you think the median income needs to be, the highest median income, and what city that's in. We would love to see that in the chat, y'all. Let us know. I think it'd be fascinating. So before I get to that, I want to get to some more of these comments, and then we'll get back to this chart really quick. Let me rock it out. Jason says, what are your thoughts on the properties that are their own? That are in their own great, but they might want like 3 times the price that the house costs in the neighborhood, like 1.5 and a 400. Oh, got it. Okay. So what he's asking is a home that is 3 times the average of the median. I think that anyone who has put that kind of income into a home in an average area, Jason, they did it strictly because they wanted it. They should never expect that type of return. It's going to be very difficult. Unless somebody's paying cash for a property like that, it's almost never going to appraise out. If that makes sense. Hopefully that helps. Javier says, hello, Juan and Stacy. Love the videos. We love you watching, man. Thank you. Appreciate it. JC says, hello from Bradenton. Hey, what's up, Bradenton? Brazil has very little middle class. Guess how well that's working. Yeah, my man. It's some scary stuff when you really think about it. And Jason says, thanks. Absolutely. Okay, y'all, we're going to get into this. I want to know. Yeah, I have no idea. I know there's some, if you had to guess, like income levels are bananas, right? So we'll get into this. Okay. So Las Vegas, Dallas, 121,000, Orlando, 121,000. So Orlando, you have to make more money than you do in Tampa. So for anyone who's looking to move to Orlando, Tampa's got you, baby. Weather's better anyways. Ain't nobody trying to live in a swamp. Shout out to Orlando. We love you. But it is the swamp. That's why Walt picked it up for a penny, because no one wanted it over there. But they have turned it into something amazing. But again, shout out to our brothers and sisters in Florida. All right. Nashville, Tennessee. This used to be a place where people would go. It's no big deal. $128,535. Raleigh, North Carolina, 130. Phoenix, Arizona, 131. You remember, Stacy, that retirees used to go to Phoenix and in Southwest Florida? Like, that's where people went, because it was like the land of milk and honey for almost no money. Those days are gone. See ya. So long. All right. Phoenix, we said. Providence, Rhode Island, 142,000, almost 143,000. Austin, Texas, $149,000. Miami, Florida, $151,000. I think you would struggle mightily making $151,000 living in Miami. Miami is astronomically expensive. So I have a beef with this list because we see the Miami housing prices and they are nuts. Yeah. So we got some guesses. I want to get into this right away. All right. Jeffrey says LA, 200 grand. Interesting. We'll see as LA is going to make the list. So we got that for sure. Honolulu at 300K. That's a big number. And it's hard to live on the island. I know that for sure. We've had a lot of people reach out to us from Hawaii too that wanted to make the move because the cost of living was outrageous for them also. So that's a fair guess. Kiefer says San Diego at 200 plus K. This is not Price is Right, bro. It's not Price is Right. What is the plus? There's a lot of wiggle room in the plus, my man. Like tighten the window a little bit. No, I love that. That's good. Good guess, by the way. Great guess. Love that. Okay. Great guesses, y'all. Let us know what you think the most expensive are. So we're going to keep rocking. So we got Miami, Salt Lake City, Utah, $154,000. Portland, Oregon, $161,000 to live in Portland. Y'all, there's less sun in Portland than there was in Detroit. And I know it's beautiful. Pac Northwest is gorgeous. Hear me out. But it rains all the time. You don't even get to pump your own gas in Oregon. It's crazy talk, by the way. Did you know that, Stacy?
No.
It's illegal to pump your gas. They have to pump the gas for you. It's interesting. Washington, D.C., which we all expect to be expensive because guess where all of our money is? You got it right. It's hanging out in Washington. $166,000. Sacramento, California, $172,000. Denver, Colorado, $172,000. These numbers are outrageous, y'all. I'm just completely shocked. It used to be 71,000, Stacy. That's the thing. 71,000 4 years ago, and now it is 172,000.
Wow.
Yeah, that is the thing. It's the increase, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing that hurts people so bad. Jason says Aspen, Colorado, 400. I don't think it's going to make the largest metros. It's the 50 top metros, so that probably won't make it. But I think that's very fair, right? In terms of a guess. All right, Riverside, California, $173,000. Boston, Massachusetts, $205,000. I don't think that surprises anybody. New York, 213 grand. The land of a $5,000 one-bedroom apartment. That is what's happening out there. Seattle, Washington, 213K. San Diego, California. There's our guess. 200 plus. You kind of win there, Kiefer. You kind of win. 273. Holy cow. We met with a family last week that is relocating from San Diego, and it would be very hard. I mean, that place is very beautiful. It's a beautiful area, so I understand why that could be difficult. But man, we're 116 versus 273. You think one of these things is not like the other. Los Angeles, there's LA. Somebody had a bet on Los Angeles that it was what, 200K. Good job, Jeffrey. It's 279,000, which is a big number. San Fran, which I thought would be the largest expense on this list, by the way. Oh, we had a guess. Let's see. Right, it came in right at the time. 375. You were close. That's the closest guess so far, Jamie. Good job. 339. So $340,000 is how much you have to make to be able to comfortably own a home, buy a home in San Francisco. Yo, that's monopoly money. Right? Most people do not make that kind of income. And the number one most expensive place on this list. Can anybody guess what the city is? I'm going to wait. I know we got like an 8-second delay. Can anybody guess the city and guess the number? This is going to shock some people. Again, this is Stacy and I were literally, our jaws hit the ground as we right we were going to.
I wasn't even close.
Unbelievable. Well, now we know we've got some pretty sick ranges here. All right. Drum roll, please. Brrr. Drum roll. Do I have to do the Clark Griswold thing? Where's my drum roll, y'all? Do I have a drum roll? We got a rim shot. That's the closest we're going to get. All right, drum roll. The most expensive city to buy a home in the United States is none other than San Jose, California, at a staggering $454,296 to comfortably buy a new home. Holy wow.
Yep. Wow.
Wow. Whew, y'all. These prices is Bananas. I mean, and that's the thing, right? So go back to 4 years ago, and that's what we were talking about on this list. I'm going to go up to the top again so you guys can, I just remind you what it was about. Income needed in 2024 is this column here. The income you needed in 2020 to comfortably buy a home. I want to show the differences. This is the big thing. It was 191,000 in 2020 in San Jose, which was still not a small income, right? The median income back then was like $40,000 or $50,000. Household income is more, y'all. Yeah, that's when you combine incomes. Don't forget that. But the median income for one person is what we're referring to. And to go from 191 to 454, that's staggering, right? Or 119 to 339. I mean, that's like tripling.
Mm-hmm.
Some of these numbers are just fascinating. So when I started this, the idea of this live tonight, and we welcome the conversation, y'all. The idea of saying goodbye to the middle class. You're seeing this in real time in front of you. You know, there's been these more and more conversations regarding, you know, these institutional buyers, these big giant banks and hedge funds buying up single family homes in the United States, and it's happening. 19% of the inventory has been bought up, gobbled up by these guys, BlackRock, and like, you know, they're buying out these huge conglomerates like Tricon and Invitation Homes that were already gobbling up these parties. Now companies like BlackRock, they're using our 401k, our investment dollars are being used as weapons against us to buy the very thing that we need in order to have ownership and grow wealth. You want to know why I'm passionate about real estate? Because the person who owns a home in the United States has 40 times more wealth than the person who rents. And I'm not saying that there's not value, right, in the autonomy and the flexibility. There's a time and a place for everything, but the numbers don't lie. The numbers don't lie. Home ownership is usually the path to people's wealth, right? So that's why I wanted to bring this to y'all, because these numbers are absolutely insane. Let's get into some more of this conversation here. Jason, people don't realize close to 450. Yeah, it makes you, that puts you in the upper echelon for sure in terms of income, Jason. So no doubt about that. Yearly income. Yep, that's exactly what you're saying. And let's see here. None of those prices sound comfortable. Yeah, amen to that. Yes, that's not prices. Those are incomes required, right? Like, yeah, we didn't even talk about the home prices because they're all insane, right? They're all insane on there. And this is the reality of what's happening here in the United States. And I'll share that with you guys. You know, we usually share this chart on Redfin with you so you guys can kind of see it in real time, what's happening. Now, remember, the median is the middle of the activity that takes place. It's not the average. There's a difference, but they always measure these things in median. Mostly you and I deal in reality, in averages, just so you guys know. But here is the United States housing market as it stands. This is home prices nationwide were up 5.1%. Let me get a little bit closer for you guys. Home prices in the United States were up 5.1% year over year in January. At the same time, the number of homes sold rose 2.8%, and the number of homes for sale fell by 2%. Now, I know we're in March. I want to remind everybody, real estate sales data takes almost a month to come out. And the reason for that is because not every municipality or city or rural area records sales in a day or two. Sometimes it literally can take weeks. It's done manually, analog, and it takes longer. So in order for them to have accurate information, they want to make sure that everything gets recorded in those counties so they can bring us the most accurate information. That's why you see that delay. So just a heads up on that. But this is what happened in January. So the median sales price in the United States for a single family resident, I'm sorry, this is all types, but let me go to single family homes just so we'll keep, that is not a condo or an apartment or a townhome or a villa. We're only talking about single family residence now. The median sales price in the United States was $417,000. Okay. That is why you need $100,000 income. Typically, the mortgage lenders want you to have at least 1/4 of the home's value in income. There's lots more factors that go into it. I'm not going to give a whole lesson on it, but that's an easy way to kind of think about it and not have a whole bunch of debt to go with it. So that is the medians in the United States. Now let's look at Tampa. The median sales price for a single family home, remember, we're going to compare the same things. For a single family home in Tampa is $400,000. Y'all, we are a value. I've said this a million times, and I'm going to continue to say it. You can live by a coast in the United States for less than the median sales price in the United States. That is freaking awesome. That's awesome. Okay. Have values gone up? Yep. Have wages gone up? Yep. Have they eroded the money? Yep. And that's why it hurts. That's why it hurts, right? That's why when you go to Publix and Stacy, Kate was gone for a week, and I was left to fend for myself, y'all. And for those of you that don't know, my beautiful wife's name is Kate. Juan doesn't know how to dress himself. Juan, I have unlearned all the thing my mama taught me because my wife is such an amazing human being. And it is not her responsibility. She chooses to do that, and I am so grateful for it, right? Juan also doesn't know how to navigate a grocery store. The only thing I know in a grocery store is produce, steak, water. I'm out. That's my trifecta, right? And I can grab the hamburger on the way past to the steak, right? So like, if you take me in the inner aisles of a grocery, I would have a nervous breakdown. Okay, I've been asked to go get cinnamon before. Do y'all have any idea how many different types of cinnamon there are on a shelf? And let me tell you something. I don't know. Stacy, correct me if I'm wrong. Some people are very particular about the brands and the things that they use. And when
you better not come home with the wrong cinnamon.
And you don't get any instructions. You get no instructions. You just left to fend for yourself. And I remember going to that spice aisle one time, and I was like, this is not for the faint of heart. All right. Now, how did I get there? Tangent. All right. Go in the grocery store, and I swear to goodness, you can't. I used to make fun of my wife because every time she went to Target 4 years ago, it cost $100. She would go in there for laundry detergent, and it was a $98 or $103 bill. I'm like, what happens to you when you go in that place? It's like some kind of machine that just sucks the money right out of your pocket. I don't understand. And I had to go to the grocery store this week, y'all. Again, steak, produce, water, $100. It was $90. And I'm like, what in the world just happened here? One bag of groceries. And I'm not in Whole Foods. I'm in Publix.
Yeah.
Right. And she got home, and I was like, this can't be real. We went out, and of course the fridge is empty because I've been living on nothing but raw meat, right? Water for a week. And then we go to the grocery store, and I'm like, we got one bag of groceries, and I'm like, that is going to cost us $90, right? And I think it was like 86 something. I was just mortified, right? Now I'm sharing this with y'all. Listen, it is what it is. I got to deal with it. We got to deal with it. But what I'm here to say is, the reality is, y'all, like, middle class is getting its behind handed to us, period. Right. And it is a challenge out there. So I empathize with anyone who is trying to make it on the median, because what that really stands for is just above broke. Right. Which is crazy talk. My parents made no money when I was a kid. Right. Like I grew up on government cheese. Y'all, I remember cutting the ends of it off because it was moldy. Yeah. Bad. This is a whole nother day. All right. My mother worked her way out of that. Blessed to go through that. But man, it is crazy stuff. I want to share some of these comments. I know I'm going tangent on here, but I want to share this stuff. All right. Cool. Let me kill this. First shot says, I guess I'm poor. Man, I'm telling you, dude. And you see these incomes, like, you're like, holy cow, you could be doing really well. And then you see stuff like San Diego or San Jose, and you're like, wow. That's a different animal, right? That is a different animal, what you're dealing with there. So it's great. David says, hey, Juan and Stacy, how are you guys doing? We're doing great, my man. Moving to North River Ranch in Parish in August. What are your thoughts on North River Ranch? And do you think it will blow up like they are predicting? Listen, man, I was in North River Ranch this week. Stacy's been to North River Ranch in Alaska. People are moving to North River Ranch like nobody's business. Y'all, if you want more information on that, please reach out to the team. We're happy to help you guys. But that area is growing. I think it has a tremendous runway in terms of opportunity. They're building like crazy. There's not many places, and I've said this before, there are very few places in the United States where you can buy a home next to a village center that they are building. The downtown area, you can still buy a home in the neighborhood across the street where they've got top-rated schools, crime rates really low, well below the average in the state and below the average in the country. This is not, I'm just based on that statistics. I can't tell you something's safe or not. I'm just telling you it's lower. And home values are still well within reach. And if you compare that to Lakewood Ranch, which is 25 minutes south, I think there's a tremendous amount of opportunity there. So that's my thought on that. Thanks, David, for asking. Appreciate it. I don't think you called us, so we got a problem. Kidding. Yeah, congratulations, my man. That's awesome. Jason says government cheese made the best. Shout out, bro. I used to slice the moldy end off, slice a little end off, and throw that on a tortilla. The best meal you ever had when you was a broke child, man. That was like, there is no lie about that, man. I appreciate that. All right, y'all, we want to know your questions, right? We've been talking about this. We just showed you a crazy list of how much money you need to make to be able to afford the median home and comfortably in the United States. The top 50 metros, we just showed you that. And if you joined this late, go check out the beginning of this on YouTube. You'll be able to go through that list. And again, I'll put the link in the description down below so you can get in that also. But we want to open this up to conversation. You know, where you guys live, you know, the numbers, did they stack up versus what you see? We would love to know that in the chat. Okay, so that's the first thing. Secondly, whatever your questions are about living in Tampa, Tampa Bay, or relocating the area, now's the time to get those in. Stacy and I are happy to answer those questions, just like David asked about North River Ranch. I'll pull that up here in a second and kind of talk about that with you guys so you can get context for what the question he just asked. But yeah, you know, again, a fascinating article that came through. I've done cost of living videos before. I actually did one last year where I went through after tax season because it was the day that we did our taxes. And I went through line by line on our home budget. So y'all could see how much money we spent. I shared how much we paid on taxes, our property taxes. I shared our utility bill, all the things. So if you guys want to know that, that is on our YouTube channel. You can go check that out. I will make another one. We have not filed our taxes yet. I'm an entrepreneur. I will 100% file on the very last day possible because I do not get a return. My return is waiting to the last minute possible to pay Uncle Sam. That is my return. So, but I will share that transparently with y'all. And as a matter of fact, after I do that and we launch the live video, I'll bring it here because people, you know, they'll ask and like, they'll challenge a lot of the times too. We just got our tax bill for the house. We paid just over $7,000 for our property taxes, but our home this year was non-homestead. So I didn't get a tax break on it. It's probably not going to go down next year when I get the homestead because we bought the house. So the value is going to go up. Right. Mm-hmm. So we're going to probably be paying about $7,000. And just so you guys know, my home is going to be valued somewhere. They haven't done the evaluation for next year yet, but I'm guessing it's probably going to come between $650,000 and $7,000. And no, I did not buy a $700,000 house. Just so you guys know, got a really good deal on it. We put it under contract 5 years ago. So that's a whole nother conversation I can talk to you guys about. It's the unicorn is what we ended up doing there. But I wanted to share that with you guys. Our homeowner's insurance was $2,500, $2,436 or something like that. Stacy, people tell me I'm lying all the time. They're like, it's not possible.
I know it makes me sick and angry every time you say that because mine is
yours
outrageous. No, not even close to that number.
We do pay $5,000 for auto insurance for 2 cars. One of them is new. The other one is entirely paid off. So that is a beatdown, y'all. And you shared your horrifying story on that one too. So Stacy's got kids that she insures. Juan does not.
Yeah, it's It's crazy. But,
Yeah.
you know, it's interesting that this article came out because out of all the Zoom calls we've had this year, how many of them have been people are wanting to move because they can't afford to raise their family where they're living currently?
It's fascinating, right?
Yeah.
Yep. But a majority of our calls have come from where? Chicago, right?
California.
Yep. California or the Pacific Northwest and the Northeast. So New York, New Jersey, and Massachusetts. Those are the big three in the Northeast that hit us up. Philly, we get a fair amount of calls from there. But those are the big three again. So Massachusetts, New York, New Jersey, those are the big three. Illinois, we get Michigan, of course, because I'm from Michigan. People tend to resonate with my story, and then they'll reach out. But everything else is from basically that the West and the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, I've had 2 or 3 just this past month from like Fort Lauderdale and Miami area
Yeah,
too.
that's
Just
true.
young families just can't afford to buy there and they have
Yep.
to move.
That's what I said when I saw that 150. Like, if you're a family of 2 and you've got 2 kids, $150,000 in Miami, no way. You're living in that's going to be a fringy neighborhood. Because Miami's expensive, man. It's way more expensive than Tampa is. They're not even close. It's fascinating. This is the article we're referring to. Again, it was on Zillow. I'll put this in the description, y'all, so you'll have access to it later. I don't want to gatekeep. Feel free to keep those questions coming. We're going to answer them on the fly if we can. Sassy but I still love the handle. So good. Every time I read it, I just want to laugh. It's so good. I'm a medical coder, but I think to thrive to become an astronaut so I could afford public sub. Listen, pub sub is a value. I just want everybody to know that. But things are getting more expensive. I buy the hot and spicy chicken wings. I love them. You get like, I don't know if it's like a whole pound. $16 yesterday. Like, good Lord. But yeah, that is fair. Become an astronaut so you can get a pub sub. That's so good. That's such a good statement. Now I know why the sassy but classy thing is there. Like, you're funny. That's wonderful stuff. Javier says, how are most people making this type of money? Investments, businesses, jobs don't pay like that for most people from what I've seen. And bro, this is the question of the ages, right? So this is such a good question, Javier. And again, they're giving you median and averages when they say this stuff. But the thing we do want you guys to realize, Florida attracted more high income, more people earning over $200,000 a year than any other state last year. Okay. So they brought jobs with them. Because this is a great question. People ask this all the time. They say, where do these people make this money? It's such a good question. And Javi, when I used to work at a job making $53,000 a year or 58, and I got 62 with a great bonus that year. Like, I used to think the exact same way. I was like, I don't understand how people have the things that I see around me. Right. And you're asking such a good question. And I think this is going to be different for everybody. There are very high income W-2 earners. Like, think about Silicon Valley. So San Jose, like they were talking about, San Francisco, like those are a lot of employees. Okay. Yes, there's business owners in there, but they're high paying jobs working for large tech companies like Google and Apple and Meta and things like that. So that's part of it. Okay. And then the other question of, and all I can do is speak from my experience. Right. So in Stacy, in my experience, the people who tend to reach out to us are usually, they make good income at their job. Okay. Good is relative to you. So this is what I want you to know, right? I'm never going to disclose what people make, but they tend to be over 6 figures each, right? Or one of them is making $200,000 as a coder or software, whatever it is, right? We see this a lot. And then the other side of that is we serve a lot of small business owners or online entrepreneurs. There are a lot of people making money with these things now, guys. So I'm not here to try to preach to people about becoming an entrepreneur. I just want you to understand, because when I was stuck in that 9 to 5 with remember when I started the year, the pie was already determined. That was a very tough place to live, right? Yeah, I could make a bonus, but it was only a couple $1,000s, and that thing got taxed to snot when it happened. Government used to come in and be like, "Thank you, I'll take 35% of that or 40," and it hurt so bad. I remember that, man. It was so bad. So great question, man. We are in the side hustle economy now. We see more people with side hustles than I've ever seen in my entire life, and for good reason, man. It's hard. Like, you got to make good money in order. There's a difference between surviving and thriving, right? And again, I'm not here to preach to anybody, but I grew up surviving. My mom was one of those people who literally cut milk with water. I know, I remember that life. I still remember the government cheese on a tortilla. I can take you back to the smell that it makes when you put it on an open flame. I know exactly what that life was like, right? But man, and I'm sharing this with y'all because I have concern too. My dad is still an employee for the University of Michigan, right? And my father-in-law, who is semi-retired, right? The kids were asking like, "Hey, how come grandpa's not retired fully?" And I had to explain to them how money works right now. Trying to explain that to an 11-year-old and a 9-year-old and a 5-year-old who want their grandfather to basically be around all the time. But he is working these last couple years because, again, they got increases on wages, and he's worked his entire life with a promise. And I'm not here saying that pensions are right or wrong, but you got to understand, when that's what you've been told and that's how you worked, and all of a sudden everything changes at the end, it changes your life and the outlook behind it. And unfortunately, that means that my father-in-law, whatever he walks out that door, that'll be the most money he's ever going to make in his entire life. And every year after that, it's going to erode. His quality of life is going to get worse because we spend more than we make as a country. So forgive my tangent, but that is real. That's real. So, man, it's such a good question, Javi. And I appreciate you asking that, my man, because it's a very interesting time to be around. Okay. Sassy Classy says, I want to know too, Javi, because I used to be upper middle class on my salary and now I'm nearly the bottom of the barrel. This is what I'm talking about, right? You probably got cost of living increases over the last 4 years but it ain't spending the same. It ain't spending the same, y'all. This is good. Hey, thank you for your comments, y'all. Keep bringing the questions. We're here to answer them. We'll go till 8 o'clock. Are the income numbers from the article based on a certain number of children? My kids are grown and dual income, married and single. Yeah, if you go to the Zillow article, it'll talk to you about how they put it together, but it is basing it upon the average household, the median household, right? So that's going to be, 2 people in a home with 2 children. You're going to have some debt. They're assuming all of those things. If you don't have any debt or student loans, like, you can make less money and do the thing. All right. But they're going based upon what the average people are doing. Remember, the average home has 2 car payments, and the average car payment in the United States as of 2024 was over $700. Yeah. Yep. Tough stuff, right? Tough stuff. All right. Ask Shay says, nice to see you both. Live with a ton of good info. Live with a ton of good info. If both of you have $200,000 in cash each, where and how will you invest? Separate answers from you both. And listen to this. Now this, can I give a star award? How do I put a star up on the screen? I think I fixed does it still do it? No, I fixed my MacBook, so it doesn't do thumbs up anymore. But you get an applause, because that is amazing. All right. That's a great question. Stacy, I'll let you take this first, because this is it's coming in hot. Or do you want me to go first? Or you can take it.
No, I'll go first. I already know my answer.
Okay, let's roll.
I would buy some real estate.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I would take my 200 cash and put it down on a piece of property.
What kind of real estate? Let's give him some specifics, because he did ask.
Yeah. I would probably go with a smaller single family home, like a 4-2, something I could rent out.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be easy to rent. I would put it in a nice school district, so I know it'd be easy to rent. Location that would be highly desirable. Yep. That's my goal. Buy property and rent it out. That's what I want to do.
Love it. And that's a great way to go. I'm going to give you 2 answers. just because I want to give two separate paths, because maybe someone is hearing this and they don't own any real estate yet. Mine is going to be real estate specific as well, Ashay, and for a reason. So if I didn't own a home yet, I would buy a duplex. I would use an FHA loan. I would buy a duplex. If I could get my hands on a quad, if I could afford it, meaning 4 units on one piece of property. Okay. One building, four separate housing units. Because an FHA loan will allow for up to 4. I would buy a quad or a duplex or triplex. I would live in one of the rooms and rent out the other 3. Okay. And that would help me pay for my mortgage. If you can get a quad, you can definitely get your mortgage paid and probably put some money back in your pocket. But I would stay in that home for 2 years because I think that's a requirement from an FHA. And then I would take the equity from that property, if there was any, and move it towards. And even if there wasn't, I would be taking that cash flow, because now the mortgage is paying for itself. If I could afford one, now I can buy another. So then I would buy another house. And we call that laddering. So you move from one to the other, you keep acquiring them. So that's if I didn't own anything. That's the first thing that I would do. That is not easy to do, y'all. There's a lot of people out there hunting that, but it's a great tool. You see a lot of vets do that. It's really, really smart. So that's one. If I already owned a home like I do, then I would be looking to pick up single family rentals also, or multifamily. Same, the plan wouldn't change. I'm not opposed to either of them. My single family homes would be much more strategic, meaning like the one we live in now. We're less than 2 miles to the beach. We live on a peninsula in the ocean. The property here will appreciate for basically the rest of my existence. It may have some ups. I expect there to be, some turbulence from time to time, but over 10-year period, over 20-year period, and over 30-year period, that home is going to appreciate astronomically. And we want to pick up at least one home a year for the next 10. So that is what we're working towards, because by the end of that portfolio will probably, by the time I retire, that portfolio will be worth more than $10 million, which we'll spend like $1 million today. so got that to look forward to, but at least that's my strategy. Great question, man. Great question. Thank you for that. Miss Denise.
Hello, Denise.
You're not late. You're just fashionably entering the conversation. That's what we're calling it. Miss Denise said, Stacy, would you invest in living in River Landing next to me? I love that.
Not only would I invest, but I would buy my primary home there. I love that community.
And she didn't spell it wrong. She just had a typo. So we fixed that. Great question, Denise. Y'all, we love these lives. Okay. Let us know. Do you like the Q&A format? Do you like when we bring you the hot takes and what's happening in the city? I mean, we can go deep on all the restaurants that are opening. We can talk about the roads and all that other stuff, but you guys have been so engaging with the Q&A sessions that we've been doing. But I really want to just make note of this article, because it's not just us, as you can see, right? The entire United States is feeling this pinch right now of having to make way more money to live the same type of lifestyle. And it's so, everybody's wondering, like, why? I'm making more money. Why does it not feel like I'm getting ahead? And, we talked a little bit about one of the reasons why that's happening. It's not the only one, but it definitely is a contributing factor there. But we have had a great time with y'all this evening. Connect with us on Instagram. If you're not following us on Instagram, please do. At stacy.amen.realtor. Her name is pronounced Amen. Don't make the mistake of calling her Amen. like this guy right here, right? Who can't even shop for himself. Shout out to this guy. Stacy.amen.realtor. And then you can connect with me on Instagram as well at juan.alcala.realtor. If you guys want to connect and have a conversation about buying, selling, or investing here in the greater Tampa Bay area and Sarasota, don't hesitate to reach out to us. Okay. All the contact information is down below. As a matter of fact, I'll even put our number on the screen, which I was supposed to do earlier. Our website's there, so you can go check that out. Also, feel free to text me directly. That number on the screen is your direct line to this guy's phone right here. So if y'all want to do that, feel free to do that as well. But you can connect with us on Instagram also. We love connecting with people there, so don't hesitate to do that. And we'll wrap up final comments and head out the door here and give you guys back your Tuesday evening. Very discouraged. Jonathan, man, I wish I had a better thing to tell people, but that's the reality. And if the sad part is, man, if we don't start preparing not only ourselves, but our kids for this reality, this is not going to get better. Waiting on other people to solve these problems is what has gotten us here to begin with. So if you guys can take anything away from my share tonight, just know that like you can't wait on somebody else to come save you. That life raft is not coming, y'all. Right? Invest in skills that people want to pay for. Become someone of value in your company. Not saying you're not already, but if y'all want to make big waves, like you got to find problems in your current ecosystem and solve them without being asked. Like that's how people look at you and go, man, that person's invaluable to me. Like, how do I make sure they don't leave? That's how I got every raise and every promotion I ever had at any company, was by doing that. And I learned that from someone else, y'all. So I'm just passing that along, and I'm not here to preach at people. You guys might be already making a great living, a great wage, great income, and this stuff doesn't affect you. But there are people on the other side of this who do. Like I said, growing up a Focus Hope baby on government, cheese and canned peanut butter, like I know the game. And I don't want to see people go through that either, man. So I'm sorry you're discouraged, but like, listen, brother, you can do it. This is what I want. We're still in America. No one can tell you you can't do better for yourself, right? If that is why you're discouraged. So I don't know the story. I'm just sharing. So forgive me if I'm overstepping my bounds, but that's how I feel about it. Do you see the job market in Tampa increasing to meet demand? It has been increasing dramatically. Tech is the biggest driver in Tampa right now. We're the number 2 destination. I shared that 2 weeks ago. We're the number 2 destination in the country for tech jobs right now. So this is the other thing about like you guys want to know what people are asking for. They're asking for tech jobs. And the people that I know in tech, everyone's pointing towards AI. They used to tell everybody to go to a computer science degree and go learn how to code, but coding is about to go away. You still need people to ask great questions, right? Prompt engineering, AI. And again, that's not my expertise. I'm just sharing with you what the people in that world are telling me where to point my kids, because I have the same questions that you guys do, right? 5 years ago, I was telling I have an 11-year-old son. I was like, you're going to learn how to code. I got him on Scratch and all these like, young coding things. And now my friends who are in that world are telling me, well, I'm pointing towards AI. Okay. And that means by the time he actually gets through college, whatever they told me then is going to be useless also. Stacy, am I wrong?
You're not wrong.
And Jonathan, that is probably part of your frustration, is it not? Right? The old game of go to school, get good grades, and work for a company 30 years, that ship has sailed. And if anybody's selling you that, walk out of the room. Walk out of the room. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Okay. Connect with us. Thank you all. If you are following us on YouTube and you are not already subscribed, what are you doing with your life? We are here for you. Just kidding, y'all. We love this show. We love coming to you guys live on Tuesday. Thank you for all the wonderful questions. Thank you for your contribution. If you're watching this later, do not hesitate to reach out to us. Again, everything is in the description below, the link to the article. And I'll put that in the chat right now. That way I didn't cheat anybody, anything. Here it is. I'm going to put this in the chat wherever you're watching, whether that's Facebook or YouTube. You can see it there. Cool. It is in the chat. I'll put that in the description as well. And y'all, as always, we hope you have an incredible Tuesday night. Stacy, any final words for these amazing human beings?
Thanks for joining us tonight. I mean, I love all the questions, and it's fun being here on Tuesdays. So Absolutely. Join us next Tuesday and bring those questions.
That's right. Bring your questions, y'all. We'll get. Oh, and I didn't get in a North River Ranch thing, but I will kick off with that next week, just for anybody who's wondering. So forgive me. Thanks for all the great advice. Y'all are welcome, man. And thank you for all the great questions, y'all. We appreciate everyone. Like we say every single week. Until next time.